Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my Reptilianne deck, and it's a really interesting deck type. It's kind of weird in my opinion. It's based off of monsters that have 0 attack, or making your opponent's monsters have 0 attack, and then doing effects that relate to that. It's a really interesting deck type, like I said, and just going to talk about the cards I use. There are different forms this deck can take, but this is just the general Reptilianne deck, nothing too special there. So first off, kind of the main boss of the deck is Vaskii. So Vaskii tributes to 0 attack monsters, and then you can bring it out, and it also can destroy face-up monsters. So a very powerful card. Reptilianne Gardna is the searcher of the deck. 2000 defense, really nice, and 0 attack. Very important to keep in mind cards that have 0 attack for cards like Vaskii, and for the other effects that you can do with this deck. And then Reptilianne Naga is a really great stall card, and on top of that allows you to get your opponent to lower their attack, which is really nice. So it's kind of a bait card, get them to lower their attack, but also stall to set up the plays that you need. Reptilianne Scylla, one of the beaters you have available to this archetype. And also if you can pull off combos and get your opponent's monsters to 0 attack, you could take control of them, kind of like Arcana Force Chariot. So really nice, allowing you to do X, Y, Z and synchros. This deck, in addition to what it can do, it's also a very powerful synchro or XYZ based deck because of the changing control and the different levels you have access to. So Reptilianne Viper is the tuner you'll be using in the deck. So very nice. This one just lets you take control of one of your opponent's 0 attack monsters, and that will be pretty normal based on the effects that you're using. So very nice. And with level 2 tuner, gives you a lot of different choices in what you want to do. Cyber Valley, a great card to tech into a bunch of decks, but in this deck particularly, it's really good just because it has 0 attack, allowing you to do all the plays you want with 0 attack monsters, and then using all of its good effects on top of that, which is really nice. So another boss monster you have access to is Evil Dragon Ananta. You guys should know this card. This one just gains a lot of attack from the reptile monsters in your graveyard and allows you to destroy cards. So it could be very powerful and nice later in the game. And Dark Arm Dragon, also a nice boss monster you can use in this deck. It is a pretty much staple for a lot of dark type decks. This deck is mostly dark, it's not entirely dark. So the thing about Dark Arm Dragon is it's a debate whether people want to keep it in or not. I personally like to have it in this deck. And I think it's nice because you have a bunch of cards that kind of alter how the graveyard is going, so you can match up for 3 cards when you need it. And then Reptilianne Gorgon, I have one of these in the deck. Kind of a kamikaze card, allows you to force your opponent to have a 0 attack monster, and then they can't change its battle position, which is really nice to set up the plays you want. And 1400 attack, again, obviously not great, but still better than 0, obviously. So the spells in this deck, Pot of Duality for draw power, just giving you access to what you need. It's very important to get certain card combos, but there's a bunch of other things you could do for draw power. That's currently what I'm doing. Reptilianne Spawn, just a great card allowing you to mess with the graveyard and summon tokens. Gives you a very quick access to Vaskii and the other effects you'll be using in the deck. So creature swap, obviously with 0 attack monsters, always a really great card to use. So I'm running 2 of them, MST. Scapegoat is awesome in this deck, giving you access to 0 attack monsters and stalling if you need to. Very powerful card to use with this archetype. And then we have Mind Control, obviously, with the levels and the tuners and all the different stuff you'll be using, Mind Control can be very useful. And on top of, the 0 attack effects you'll be using. Dark Hole, staple, Recurring Nightmare, obviously very useful in this deck because you have a bunch of monsters that also have 0 defense. So like Viper and Naga. And since Naga is a very important card, it's really good to be able to get it back. Obviously not running too much of it because of how you'll be messing with the graveyard a lot, but having 1 copy can be very nice. So Offering to the Snake Deity, just a very powerful card you can use, kind of like Icarus attack. After your monsters have kind of, used out their usefulness, it can be very nice to be able to do that. Damage Reptile, a really nice card in this deck because the monsters you want all have 0 attack, And, you know, obviously if you take more heavy damage, you can get some of the bigger guys out, but getting access to those 0-attack monsters is really nice. And then mostly staple traps, not much to say there. So for the extra deck, you're going to want a huge variety of levels because you're going to be messing with tokens, you're going to be taking control of your opponent's monsters, you're going to be summoning high-level monsters yourself. So you really need a huge variety of levels. So, you know, for 3-star you have Mistbird, 4-star you have Balmung. Balmung can help you summon can help you get one of the monsters that you need, which is very important. Catastor, obviously. Reptilianne Hydra is a really interesting card, allowing you to destroy the 0-attack monsters once you use those effects. So draw power on top of destroying monsters. So very nice. Iron Chain Dragon, another great 6-star. Black Rose, all these staples. Crimson Blader, Stardust Scrap, Mist Wurm, and Star Eater for the higher level ones. Again, not that hard to get out, honestly, with all these tokens and these high level monsters and taking control, like I said. So having those is very useful. That's why I'm running 2, because I've actually seen it get used a lot with how many tokens you're bringing up. And for the few XYZs, I'm mostly having a few 4-star XYZs. See, there's a lot of things you could do. You can put in 1-star and 2-star XYZs. I personally think it's good to just run a lot of synchros and put in some 4-stars, because more likely than not you'll be taking control of 4-stars, and then you can possibly XYZ with some of your 4-stars. So King of the Feral Imps to get a reptile that you need, and then Blackship and Maestroke. There's a bit of a debate on what you can do here. You can put in full synchros, you can put in a little more XYZs, up to you. Personally, I find this working really well for me. So for the extra deck, or the side deck, when I put a side deck in these videos, these are just recommended cards. They're not necessarily a side deck for a match. These are just cards that will also work with this deck type that you can consider when you're making your own deck. So Reptilianne Medusa is just another thing you can use to lower your opponent's monsters to 0-attack. Personally, not using it, it messes with your hand a lot, so it's up to you. Can bring out some early power, but it's not that much power, but can be useful. Mass Chopper and K2 are interesting cards that you can use. If you're focusing on not using your opponent's 0-attack monsters, you can use these 2 cards to really destroy your opponent, allowing you to do heavy damage, which is very, very nice. If you're focusing on more burn, it could be really, really nice. If you want to use this deck with the Venom Mints cards or whatever, you can definitely use that. They work with that archetype if you want to support it. You could just throw these guys in, throw in the support cards with that. Also, lowering your opponent's monsters to 0-attack helps you get Hyper Venom counters, which is really nice. Oshalin is another searcher you can use. I prefer the Gardna. Fires of Doomsday, kind of like Scapegoat. I prefer Scapegoat. Reptilianne Poison, another way to get 0-attack. Viper's Rebirth, if you're using a full reptile deck, can be useful. Allure of Darkness is another choice for draw power. Solidarity, again, if you're running a full reptile deck, can help you if you're not able to get your effects out for whatever reason. If you use Savage Coliseum and Final Attack Orders and you're making your opponent's monsters go to 0-attack, they're going to have a tough time. So that's another useful combo. And then finally, Ojama Trio, just, kind of like the other cards, giving your opponent 0-attack monsters that you can use, and no entry, allowing you to stall for a bit and to get what you need. It's a very nice card to use in certain situations. But overall, the archetype is pretty fun, pretty interesting. It's very weird in my opinion, but I think it's cool just making your opponent's monsters have 0-attack. It's really interesting how it works, and I'm having fun with it, and it's testing decently well. But if you have your own Reptilianne deck, I'd love to see it in the comments. Tell me what cards you guys use. If you suggest cards, I might put it in the suggestion list in the description. So if you guys suggest some good stuff, I might put it there. There's a lot of other ideas I have, so you might be suggesting things I've heard of, but still, I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. Also, if you like this video, if you want to subscribe, you want to hit the like button, I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you want to see more decks from me, you can check the playlist in the description. It'll have a list of every single deck I've made so far. You can also follow me on Twitter. You can see my Twitter right there. If you want to get updates, tweet me, talk to me, play me. I'm also going to be starting to post my Skype and my Dueling Network profile in the descriptions. For my Skype, I'm usually always on there if you want to talk to me. Just don't spam me. And for my DN, just so you guys know, I only go on Dueling Network to make decks. So if you want to talk to me while I'm making a deck, I'm totally up for that. But usually I won't be on there too much. But if you want to go talk to me, that's cool. But I think that's about it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. I will see you later.